Alright,
Well,
now we're going. Quick, everyone say everything we just said.
I just took my top off, but now I smell. Woolly's World.
This week on Where We Conceive, the podcast. Everyone laugh. Are you joking? Okay, so on this week of this podcast, we will be reviewing these 3 films.
Which are
Monos, Nocturama and Paddleton.
Paddington 2.
Paddington 2. That's next week's solo special where that's all we're going to review for an hour.
Live commentary.
Yeah.
pretty much it.
And that's pretty much it.
Nice one, Joe.
Now we're getting taken to court. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, good.
No, I'm sure they want our subscribers.
No, we're not shouting them out. Cut this out. Cut this bit out.
I was gonna leave it in. Oh no, I just can't.
I'm kicking Joe out the podcast.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Action.
I just took my top off and now I smell.
No. That'll be how we start every podcast. And we'll get a little like we'll have a little camera set up.
Who wants to go first?
Right, who started last time?
I think I started last time.
Right, okay. What was the first film everyone watched?
I watched Monos first.
I watched Nocturama first.
And I watched Paddleton first. Wow. See you next week.
What did you watch second?
Monos.
Paddleton.
I watched Monos second. So
and that means Monos goes first.
Monos goes first, which means I speak first because I am the best. All right.
So, what does Monos mean?
Monkeys.
Interesting.
And it's I know that the director is Brazilian, but I guess they
speak Spanish, not Portuguese.
Triple threat. All right, so here we go, kicking things off.
Go and take it away, Ernie.
Monos, 2019. I'll start by saying visually, Monos is breathtaking. The cinematography is incredible and it's certainly on the list of beautiful films to come out of 2019. The plot of Monos is similar to the likes of Lord of the Flies and other stories revolving around the question of what humanity is capable of when faced with a loss of order. When following in the footsteps of movies like Apocalypse Now and masterpieces of modern literature like Lord of the Flies, you can't help but cross your fingers and hope for a refreshing take on a pre-existing premise like this one. Monos is original enough in a lot of ways to have its own legs, but I have to say the film did feel quite cliché. You can near enough guess where it's going from the start, and I think that takes away something special. I do, however, appreciate that when covering themes as such as these, it's quite hard to avoid these clichés, and I think Monos tried to as much as it could. Regardless of these criticisms, I did honestly really enjoy this film. It's packed with great imagery and some very compelling dynamic of characters. Much like its obvious inspirations, Monos is a slow downward spiral of disorder with some great commentaries on mankind, youth and war. It might not be perfect, but it certainly made me excited for what this director does next. Done.
Crikey, you've used a lot of clever words in that.
Yeah, I thought I'd whip out the thesaurus for this one.
Yeah. See, I haven't seen
Monos.
Wait, is that what we're meant to be watching?
Yeah. We're meant to. Did you not read Lord of the Flies this week?
No, I haven't. Is the Lord of the Flies is a film as well, is it?
Yeah.
It's been made into a film a couple of times, I think.
Okay, haven't seen it. Haven't read it.
I'll sum up Lord of the Flies for you. Kids go on island. Kids go crazy. Kids kill kids. Mankind.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone.
And there's a pig in it as well.
Yeah, there's a pig, but it's actually a boy. Oh wait, no, there is a pig.
What?
there's a kid called Piggy, but then there's also a pig. But also,
there's a kid called... Man, it's like in Monos, it's like Wolf and Rambo.
Bing Bing.
Lord of the Flies. And Lord of the Flies is called Piggy.
I've got a little fact for you. I don't know if you want to wait until we all do our reviews or if I say it now.
Go on.
Is it? What are you gonna
Rambo
say? Okay.
is not a boy.
You know what? He did look a bit girly, didn't he?
Rambo was supposed to be a boy, and then they casted a girl for it and changed it as a non-binary character.
That's quite interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting.
Very,
Thanks for that.
very 2019 of you, Monos. Well done.
Thanks for that, Joe.
That's right.
Is that why everyone was kissing him?
I wanted to kiss him.
Everyone was kissing him.
Everyone was just kissing everyone, really.
Everybody loves Raymond. A little shout out to the next film.
Yeah.
Who wants to do the Monos review now?
Oh,
Billy.
I have a lot of stuff to say about this film afterwards as well. Which is
yeah. I don't know. Ollie, you can pick.
I want. Who watched it next? You both. What days did you watch it on?
I watched it second. I watched it last night.
I watched it.
Alright, Joe, you go first.
Monos.
Epic.
Within the first moments of this film, I was hooked to the screen. Straight off the bat, you're presented with the characters, and it's easy to understand each one of their traits. With the story being so character-driven, it was important to get the characters just right, which is something director Alejandro Landes
Great pronunciation.
got spot on. Oh my god. Get up closer.
What was his name again, Joe?
This episode's a bit laughy, isn't it?
I watched this with a constant wonder of what's going to happen next, and almost every time it wasn't my expectation. Things started off slow, and by the end of the film, it was so fast-paced that it was exhilarating and fun to watch. The overall look of the film was also really good and helped create the dark and cold atmosphere that it did so well. I think that the casting of the film was exceptional, and the entire cast provided such an amazing performance throughout. They all looked like they should be the characters they were, and it seemed almost natural for them to be in the story. The film ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I was sitting there.
Monos 2.
I was really impressed with this film, and I would definitely watch again in the future.
Yeah. One thing I'll say quickly, buddy, Rico, he's come a long way, hasn't he, from Hannah Montana?
I haven't watched it, but I know he's the guy with the dreadlocks, right?
Yeah, he's the he's like the best character. Yeah,
he's from The Middle. I know him from The Middle. He went out with Sue Heck.
He's not. Oh, wait.
He did. He's like the wrestler boy.
Oh, he is, isn't he? Yeah.
He's like he was a bit of a weirdo, but he was a wrestler. He went out with Sue, and he's also in Kings of Summer, whatever that film's.
Oh,
no, that's not. Is that the guy from The Middle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Although
I think I'm right.
I haven't seen it.
I thought he was like.
I mean, I haven't checked it or anything, but no, not what? Not him, Joe.
He went out with Sue Heck.
Yeah, that guy, as you just said, was gay. He didn't go out with Sue Heck.
No, it was her boyfriend. He was her boyfriend.
Who?
The gay one.
Was he?
Yeah, it was like a whole big joke.
All right. Well, her other boyfriend, who was the little wrestler boy.
All right, we're getting a bit off topic.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've noticed that no one had any negatives to say about this film.
I mean,
which, you know,
I had a couple.
It leads me onto my review, which
I wouldn't say that. I had a couple of negatives in mine. I said it was quite cliche, which was
but you were
quite a big negative. I think
you were talking about how it's tricky for it. It was tricky. I don't know. Anyway, you'll see what I said in which I will start correct. I mean, whatever. All right. Overall, I thought this film was pretty good. It had some beautiful cinematography accompanied by a score which set the mood perfectly. Even though the subtitles described the exact same hooty-hoo noise as both tense music and tranquil music, the emotion and mood achieved in the scenes they went with really set the two apart. Did anyone else notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that.
I just thought it was funny. It was something it was like tranquil music, and it was like just like going, woo, woo. And then it was like tense music, and then it was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Do you know the music was mostly blown in bottles?
Yeah, I did. I read that too. What's more, the young actors did a tremendous job, each one giving an emotional and believable performance throughout, which was enjoyable to watch. However, there was something about this film that put me off. It could just be the fact they're constantly muddy and wet, which made me feel uncomfortable. Or it could be the way in which she cuts the ends off those wellies in the least satisfying way possible.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm as thick as the mud on Bigfoot's boots, but I found a few elements of the film confusing and was sometimes lost with what was happening. The story itself was interesting, but I personally wasn't a huge fan. And that's the end of my review.
Yeah.
And let me say, it's like, I get that. I feel like some parts were meant to be a bit confusing. It was like, what the hell's going on, right? Because it was like, this is a weird film. Like everyone, I read a couple of reviews and it was like, this film's weird, but it's like it was meant to be weird.
Yeah.
But I just mean like, I don't know if I just missed something. I don't know if I forgot to read the subtitles or something. Why, you know, when the was she American? Was she English?
She
The
was
woman
English,
they
I
had.
think.
The woman they had. The doctor or whatever the hell her name was.
Yeah.
When she was on like the walkie-talkie, why was she talking about like what is it that mummy hates about daddy or something?
Yeah, I
Because
don't know.
I think what it is. So they were asking her questions that her family have asked them.
Oh, you
So,
know when you forget your
like,
password, it's like, what's your favourite pet?
Hang on. So they like her.
What does my
child-
dad hate about
Her
me?
child has asked what's the best superhero, and she answers it to prove that she's still alive. And then I think she wants to know that her family is still alive as well.
Yeah, I'm also. I'll quickly say I'm very glad very glad that she chose Spider-Man because we all know that was the right answer.
I don't know. I was thinking. I mean, it's like Spider-Man was my favorite out of the three, but what was the question? It was like, who's the greatest superhero?
Yeah, but Superman
So
sucks.
It's like
He's-
Superman. He sucks, but he is the best of the.
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely win in a fight, but
But what does this woman know? I guess.
yeah, what does she know? Little freak.
There was another thing that really confused me. I just can't really think what it was.
Okay.
Oh yeah, how did they get to the jungle?
I think they were just on a mountain
was like-
above a jungle, weren't they?
But I swear they weren't because there was like these big like cinematic shots like around the mountains. I didn't see a jungle, and the next thing you knew, they were in a jungle.
It's set in Colombia, I think.
I don't know. I just felt. I don't know. I just
And-
felt like they teleported to the
Okay.
jungle.
But okay, I will say a couple things. Because I know you said that mine didn't sound very negative. I do have I think maybe I wrote it too positively because I do have some problems with this film. The
Yes.
main thing being it did feel very cliche, and it's very obviously massively inspired by Apocalypse Now, which I'll say
I haven't seen that either.
I'll say to the viewers out there, Apocalypse Now is probably my favourite film of all time. So I kind of didn't like it at times, and there were like some massive nods to like Lord of the Flies, obviously with the pig's head, Joe. You know,
Yeah.
because that's like directly taken out of the story. But there was a few things like, I mean, it was a really great looking film and the cinematography was really really cool. But it felt like a lot of it was just kind of, it's like the director or the director writer, is it the same guy director and wrote? Yeah, he also co-wrote. So yeah, the director, I felt like he just I don't know, he was very heavily inspired by these films, but it didn't seem quite original enough to be like as great as the films it was trying to be as great as.
Yeah.
Because
I haven't seen those films, but I still felt like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That just says a lot, doesn't it? I suppose.
Like I said, there was something about this film that put me off, but like I didn't really know what it was. It's just something I felt wasn't quite right.
Yeah,
about the film.
I would also agree. I'd agree. But I mean, I really liked it. I thought it's a very powerful film. But like for instance, I haven't seen this film that I'm going to reference, but there's a film called Come and See, which it's really high on my watch list, and apparently it's like one of the greatest films ever made about war specifically, and war through the eyes of children, which is kind of what this film is going for. And you know, the bit where they kill the cow, and there's like a shot of the cow's face as it's dying, and its eyes roll back.
Yes.
I haven't seen Come and See, but I'm fairly certain from like stills and shots that I've seen from the film that there's like that exact bit, that kind of thing happens in that film also.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's just there were too many moments in the film that made me, instead of think, wow, this is interesting, it made me think, wow, that reminds you of something interesting from another film.
Yeah, I think it was also a lot like if someone said to you, "All right, you need to make a film about kids, like in their own," I don't know, I can't think how to word it. You know what I mean? It's like that's exactly what you do. You're like, yeah, there'll be a kid. They'll all be like fighting each other, and there'll be the guy called Wolf.
Yeah.
It's like it's so.
It felt
like,
a bit too.
That's what you would come up with
Yeah.
if you were making a film about the same
Yeah,
thing.
it felt a little
So
bit
did
like
did the kids come up with their own names, or was it the messenger?
something, I don't know.
Hmm.
So it's all a bit English literature, year 10, I think.
Yeah.
I hate it when films are like that.
Yeah, but it's
I really
it's
do.
a shame though because it's a really
was-
good looking film and
it was
it was
good.
very well made and
It was pretty good.
I can appreciate the
I
I'm
also
I'm
noticed.
sure that making the film was quite a struggle.
I would have hated to be all that like muddy and wet all the time.
Yeah, I read a couple reviews and one of them was just like I hate that everyone's just wet all the time.
Yeah, I agree. It made me feel so like uncomfortable and
Maybe that's what they're trying to go for, though.
No, I know. Yeah, that's the thing. I knew that. I feel like that probably is what they're trying to do. But that's why I said, I didn't actually write it. But I was thinking uncomfortable, but in like a bad way, not in the way they wanted me to feel.
Hmm.
And I also noticed, they're always running on the spot and fighting each other and
Yeah.
holding logs or whatever they do. The girls were like very weak. Like you would have thought because I don't know how long they've been there, but you would think if they're doing all this training and stuff, they would look a bit. I don't know. They just look like don't know.
Must be.
That's just what I thought.
Yeah.
Because all the boys were like proper like big muscly boys.
Also,
then
with
Why weren't there any muscly girls?
Swede, or whatever her name was, she was very much on the larger side.
Where's she
She's
getting all
been-
those secret
like,
snacks from? She's
think,
off
like, what-
sneaking off
You
to
know,
the
it's-
jungle at night.
You never really saw them eat, and I reckon they're not eating that much.
Yeah.
And I just feel like
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
I feel like.
Well, yeah,
she was
you
an
can
outlaw.
tell from when he got rescued by that scuba diver.
Oh, also
when he went to his
another-
house and was like eating all his porridge really fast. They
Another-
obviously don't eat.
yeah,
Another criticism I have with it being partially cliche is the very final shot is him looking into the camera, looking down at
Yeah.
Lens. That happened in This Is England. It happened in Moonlight. It happened in The 400 Blows, and I feel like
I'm not sure how I felt about that.
I feel
Staring
like-
at me crying.
it's just one of the things because it's happened in these three very influential coming of age films, and I just don't know.
that big.
I don't know if it felt
that was
necessary.
quite
I feel
a
like
big
it was.
message.
Huh?
It was quite a big message. The fact that they were crying, because earlier on in the film they were told that there's no crying allowed.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but he was always
I-
crying though, wasn't he? They called him a crybaby.
Yeah, but
I-
like
I
were
like
He
that
snitched him out on it.
It was
I'm
like that time no one was telling them not to cry.
Yeah, but
we
I
should
don't-
do the
yeah,
thing where we all
like,
take
they're
turns
free.
standing up and snitching on each other.
Yeah.
I want to start doing the hand thing that they were doing.
Why were they kissing their
I
hands?
tried doing that in my bed when I was watching it, and there's no way. There's no way you can make that much noise with your hand. Trust me.
I think it's like a call sign thing.
Well, yeah, that's
So
why they
what?
done it.
Nobody asked why did they do it.
Sorry.
Did you know most of the actors in the film it was their first time acting?
Apart from old Rico.
I
Yeah.
said most. There's like two.
Yeah, but Rico wasn't Joe.
two of the kids.
It wasn't Rico's first time though, Joe.
Two of the kids it wasn't their first time, and then the rest it was, or something like
I
that.
feel really bad for just referring to him as Rico. He's a real person with a real name.
But they all did pretty well, I thought.
Yeah,
All
they
of them.
did. Yeah, they did. That's
like
that's
them.
one of the reasons why it's quite sad that this film didn't quite hit.
Yeah,
Everything
a lot of
was-
people really loved it.
I can understand why. I really wouldn't judge someone for really liking this film because it's like, yeah, fair enough, it's a really good film. But it's just like for me personally, it was just a little bit too kind of on the nose with what it was trying to say.
Yeah,
And being cliche in the process.
What would you guys give it out of 10?
So I think I'd give it like a 7.58.
Oh, see, I was more 6.57, but I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I think just
I
7.
gave it an 8.
Yeah, I feel like if I had to choose, it would be an 8 actually, but I'm in my brain it's a 7.5 but I don't really feel very comfortable giving it an 8 because of the amount of things I have issues with. But when I think of the positives as well, there were a lot of positives. I don't know, but 7.5 is my answer.
Wow.
Should we move on?
Ollie's worst film yet.
Yeah.
Nocturama.
Okay. Is that what we're doing next?
Hold on.
Saving me for the end again.
Second.
Actually, you know what?
Huh?
Let's do Nocturama next because let's do Nocturama next. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ollie.
Right, Nocturama.
Right, Joe, take it away.
What I expected from this film was much less than it turned out to be. It didn't originally come across very well, and I was ready for another terrible film. Although my expectations were a little off, I still wasn't absolutely blown away by the film. It was somewhat interesting in parts and really boring in others. The structure of the narrative was a bit confusing at times, and there were moments that I didn't understand. This film felt like a student film with a higher budget than usual. It seemed very amateur, and there are a lot of factors that could have been done better. For instance, the first 10 minutes or so was a sequence following the characters on the Paris metro. This went on for far too long, and it wasn't explaining all that it could have.
Here.
I had no idea what each character's purpose was and which characters knew each other, like within the first 10 minutes. There were also flashbacks throughout the first half of the film, which I felt could have been clearer, and I also didn't notice them like straight away. It took me a minute to realize that they're actually flashbacks. I believe there were too many, and they overwhelmed the intention of the story. There were also a few faults which seemed to be made during the editing that I found quite noticeable. For example, when the little Afro kid is going into the room.
Come on.
He's got an afro.
Yeah.
He's going into the room with like all the mannequins in, and there's music playing, and the music just loops itself. It's like it got to the end. It's only like background music, like ambient sort of added in editing music, and it stops and then starts again. But so there's just the tiniest gap in it, and I didn't like that. And there was like other bits as well.
Jesus
Having
Christ,
said all that, there were some good
all of
parts. Having said all that, there were some good parts during the second half of the film. There are a lot more interesting moments regarding the story and character development. The second half also had a lot more aesthetic cinematography, which created a more engaging feel to the film.
Is that the end?
That's it.
That's interesting, Joe. Very interesting indeed.
I agree with a lot of things you said, to be honest. Can I go next?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right, Nocturama. Nocturama has some great aspects, but also some bad ones. I think this film started intriguingly. If that makes mate. This film started in an intriguing manner, mate, shall I say, and ended quite strong. But a huge middle chunk of this film didn't feel very cohesive in either its story or its editing. One great thing this film has accomplished is its use of camera movement. I really can't fault it. I thought it was consistently great. Not only was a lot of it very technically impressive, but often created a great sense of pace without having to rely on the editing. However, on the other hand, as much as I appreciate a good long take, a lot of these shots felt unnecessarily long and in turn really slowed down the movie. There was a lot of walking around and not a lot of substance for the first 30 minutes of the film, and I feel like this film could have been a lot shorter than it was. Like I say, I do think at times it felt a bit all over the place, and it's oh god, I'm bloody messing this up loads. Hold on. Like I say, I do think at times it felt a bit all over the place, but it still managed to be a very interesting social commentary on France and its youth, with some interesting imagery scattered around every now and again. There was a point in this where I really wasn't enjoying it, but the last 20 minutes truly saved the whole film. It was tense and it was fast, and it all got wrapped up very well. I loved the use of repeating the same moment from different angles and perspectives. It reminded me of Gus Van Sant's movie Elephant. And that's what I wrote. But I just want to carry on
I
quickly.
forgot to add that in my review. I was going to talk about Elephant,
Yeah.
but I really felt like it was done so much worse. It
Yeah.
sort of felt like they pushed all of it into one bit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
So wait, hold on. Let me carry on my thing quickly because I didn't write it
sorry.
down, but I wanna say. So I do completely agree with what you said about this. This film, for a lot of it, was just completely all over the place. I think in terms of structure, I agree with what you said about it not being clear when there was flashbacks, and there was so much. There were so many tracking shots of people walking. It was
Yeah.
mental. Like,
But they do that in Elephant as well.
they do it in Elephant, but it just didn't. In Elephant, it works perfectly, but in this film, it was just like, all right, I'm walking, I'm following this guy, and then it cuts, and then I
Yeah.
carry on following him, and then it cuts, and then I carry on following him again, and it just all felt very. It was just all far too long when it came to stuff like that. And the first half an hour of this film could have been about 10 minutes long. And then a lot of the middle chunk, and maybe like Billy said with Monos, maybe I missed like some subtitles somewhere or something. But like there was a good like 15 minutes where I just did not know what was going on.
No, I got that as well. I really.
But then I do stand behind the ending. I think the ending in general was really, really good. I thought, even though it wasn't necessarily done like as good as say Elephant was, but it wasn't necessarily trying to do exactly what Elephant was trying to do.
Yeah.
So
I thought the ending was definitely more enjoyable than the whole film.
like the last 20 minutes was really, really good. I thought I thought it was pretty great, to be honest. And the performances were pretty good, and there were some I mean, the cinematography wasn't really great, but there were some interesting shots. Like I really liked the sequence of the girl dancing to "Call Me." That was really cool.
Yeah.
And I know it's a bit of a kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like young people with guns equals cool in films sometimes, which is a bit annoying. But there were some quite interesting shots. But,
I agree.
yeah.
I thought there were like a few bits, small few bits that were quite good.
Yeah.
Like filming wise.
Yeah, and so the reason I mentioned the camera movements being great, because that for me was by far the best part about the film, because some of them were really really impressive. Like there was that bit where that guy was coming up those stairs, and it started like from a bird's eye view, and then followed him round the stairs, and then followed him down the corridor that he went to. So the camera had to go over the stairwell, and I just thought that was just great.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember any of the parts that I thought were good, but I remember there were some.
Yeah, but then a lot of it just seemed very ordinary, it was just so long. So many shots were so long without needing to be, and that's a massive pet peeve with films, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on, Billy.
Okay, hold on. I've just realised I haven't fit it all in one.
I'm chin wagging a bit.
Thing. Right.
This one.
Whew, I just ate. Well, don't worry. Okay. There were some parts of Nocturama I quite liked. I liked the way in which some few parts were filmed and edited, displaying some good camera work and interesting methods to piece together the story. However, key elements of the film were unclear. Factors of the film were left out to the viewer's interpretation. And that's just... Wait, I haven't worded that correctly. Basically, just the sort of thing that isn't for me. I found the second act to be too slow-paced, and I began to wonder when this film was going to end. Certain scenes were unnecessary and only contributed to the length of the film, which ultimately led me to finding myself bored. The idea with the music being used to pinpoint moments in flashbacks was clever, but I honestly disliked all the songs they played. I didn't get much from the character development, and choices they make in the film were unrealistic, which annoyed me. I think the film on this topic could have been really good, but they just didn't get it right.
Yeah.
That's all I wrote.
Yeah.
Which is basically what we've already discussed.
It's interesting because the director, Bertrand Bonello, I believe his name is, he directed a film that came out last year called Zombie Child, and apparently that's really good.
Zombie Child.
And I mean,
See, I really thought I didn't look anything into like directors. I was expecting it to be like a group of people who just came out of university and made a film.
yeah,
And it was
Honestly,
like,
I paused this film because I had to go downstairs, and I was thinking, oh, I'm near the end. Maybe I'll just watch the rest of it. And I paused it, and there was still 50 minutes left.
yeah.
And it was
it's
just like,
one of those
what?
films.
I was like, how is there still almost an hour left of this film?
Yeah, it's like,
So
yeah,
it was
is a
just
shame.
watching them sitting around in the shopping centre, just sort of sitting about.
Yeah,
And that's why it's like that was like the bit when they were like developing the characters a bit more and like you were learning about them, but I just didn't really care.
yeah.
Because it's like, oh, some of them are regretting the decision. Oh, okay. I don't know. I just didn't really. I don't know. I was just too. I was so bored. I was a bit bored at that point. So
I was a bit confused why they let the people into the shopping centre.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Some of the
I,
choices they make in the film is unrealistic. If you were just blown up multiple places, firstly, I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't be even if they can't. Even if there's no windows and it's soundproof, I'll just sort of stay a bit low key.
I
I wouldn't be blasting out music. I wouldn't be getting drunk and driving around in my go
I
kart.
wouldn't all stay together.
I wouldn't be running outside,
having a cigarette every 5 minutes.
talking to ladies standing on bikes, and then letting homeless people in. I don't know. It's just
Oh, that lady standing on a bike. That buddy. I was like, whoa, because that's the co-star from Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
oh really?
Yeah, and also
Did we ever find out how they found out that they were in the building?
I don't know.
Did we? And also,
I don't know.
We didn't-
might just be in the phone that they had.
Yeah, I feel a bit guilty for my opinions with this film because I feel like maybe I didn't pay enough attention.
Yeah, but like that's a problem.
Yeah.
I was paying quite full attention
I paid
until
as much
I had to go
attention as I
downstairs.
could.
Yeah,
but I
and
really-
it's
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with the subtitles or it being foreign because like some of my favorite films are foreign and Monos was foreign and I was like really engaged with Monos.
Yeah. I felt like it's it's one of those films that like if you're a cool French teacher, you might put it on at the end of
at the end of a term.
school year. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
It was
oh,
a-
cool. Yeah, all my students would love this. It's kids with guns blowing up buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Epic.
It's French.
I didn't understand also how did they were they just all friends? Was there like a advertisement like, hey, any teenage kids want to come over and blow up some buildings with me?
I didn't add this to my review. I forgot
Creepy
to.
man with moustache.
They never did explain. In fact, I think I might have done a little bit indirectly.
Just send them directs to the actors.
Like you don't know who the characters are. You don't know if they're friends. Or
I feel like that might be part of it. I feel like
Yeah, but that's what I said.
I feel like that's part of the social commentary it's trying to make. I think.
I feel like it would probably support the film.
I
The
don't.
facts of
it's
the
like-
film were left out to the viewer's interpretation,
Yeah,
um,
it's that stuff should not.
which was
always
on
necessary.
purpose. But I just don't like that.
I don't think not at least not in this film.
See, I think when this film started, the first 10 minutes, I was like, all right, this is a lot better than I thought. This is pretty great because like it was.
They're going for a bit of.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes, the camera work was really interesting. It was quite fast paced.
They even did the Dumbledore train vanish.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna be interesting. But then that 10 minutes lasted for another 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh god. But then I do stand by the last 20 minutes being interesting, and that's not only because it's like there was a bit of action and there was guns, but I just think it kind of
It's because that naked guy climbed out the bath, isn't it?
yeah. Last week we had Jake Gyllenhaal's bum. This week we have French boy.
French boy.
I wish. Sorry if you're watching.
This film got turned down at the Cannes Film Festival
Did it?
because it got released so close to the Paris terrorist attack in
Interesting.
2015.
So hold on, what's everyone giving it out of 10 then? Because this is quite
6.
interesting.
Oh, really? I'm giving it a 5.
I'm giving it a 6.5.
Oh, really?
I'd give it a dead old 6.
I thought 5 because like it wasn't great, but it was more than I expected. It
I
was
just,
sort of middle ground, really.
I don't know. I just don't think it was. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on my personal letterbox, I gave it 3 stars, which is technically 7, but I give it a 6.5 because it did have some okay bits, but it's not. You said this exact sentence last week, but it's just I feel like I'm just gonna forget about it like tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. It is
Yeah.
just like a film you would watch in French at school.
Yeah. So, but I feel like it's maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe we need to be French to understand what they're trying to say.
Maybe.
Not
I read
not
I read
literally, but
I skimmed through like a few of the reviews, and it's like all the people, like, because a lot of people were giving it like 5 star, 4.5 star, and all of those people were like talking about how like the message it puts across rather than how good it is as a film.
exactly, yeah.
But I don't know. I'd rather enjoy the film than.
Oh, I'm okay with films
Watch
being
it for
very
the
message
message.
heavy. Some of my favourite films are kind of just quite like powerful films, but it's like it's almost like I have a similar criticism to Monos with this, and it's like I feel like what they're trying to say isn't necessarily a completely new thing that's being said, and it's not really being done in a way that is like groundbreaking, which films don't always have to be groundbreaking when they're covering a topic that already exists, but its style was a bit all over the place. I think I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna check out Zombie Child by the same director because there was some interesting stuff, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, 6.5.
I won't watch Zombie Child unless you pick it.
Yeah.
It's not on Netflix. So.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready for the third and final dish?
Oh,
Yes.
I am, Billy, and
Dessert.
let me just say, well done.
Billy's best film yet.
Yeah. All right.
I win.
Yeah.
Right. My review's very short. I don't actually talk much about the film, and here we go. Paddleton it's called Paddleton, right?
Paddleton, yeah.
Yeah, Paddleton is a touching and wholesome film. I enjoyed just watching two friends being friends and spending time together, and honestly, I could have watched more of it. I thoroughly enjoyed both performances and admired how well the actors worked together. The dialogue flowed, the funny parts were funny, and the emotional parts were emotional. The connection between the two characters felt so real, I wouldn't be surprised if they were actually best friends. There were moments that were not so real, a little out of place, and in my opinion did not complement the tone set by the rest of the film, but by the end, those moments were forgotten, and I felt as if I had been on a journey with two best friends, laughing and crying all the way.
So?
That's all right, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, good.
Told you it was short.
Short and
Mine's
sweet.
Huh?
Right.
Mine's quite similar.
Go on, Drew.
Go on in, Joe.
Paddleton. Is that what it's called? I read that now. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, it doesn't look right, does it? And when you say it out loud, it doesn't sound right. It's like, should there be a film called Paddleton?
Well, it's a game that they made up, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not a word.
Right, Paddleton is a really heartwarming and relaxing watch. The story was really easy to follow, as were the characters and their dialogue. There were some quite funny moments, however, there were also lines which I felt like the comedy was being pushed too far and I didn't find them funny. The film does a good job on taking you on a journey with two characters, which created an emotional and relatable watch. I felt as though I was part of their friendship and inside jokes, and I can reflect some aspects of the characters with myself and my friends. Everything together just made it feel so real and genuine. I would have given this film a higher score, which you don't know yet.
Yeah.
However, it seems to be lacking. It's a really good film, but it's very simple. So I use the word however twice, which I really don't like.
However.
The structure and the idea are not as creative as they could have been, and it's very much a beginning, middle, end kind of film. There's nothing wrong with this.
There's
However,
nothing wrong with
it has lowered its score, as I don't believe it's deserving of anything higher. I'll say again, this film was really nice to watch, and I will probably watch it again when I'm in the mood. I felt comfortable throughout the entire film and engaged. But I want to sort of support myself because it is very simple.
Yes, that's one. That's one of the things I liked about it.
There's nothing wrong with a simple 3-act film, though.
No.
Especially
That's
with
not
comedy.
what I'm saying, but it's lowered its score because it's not.
I don't.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
If anything,
like,
that hired
so
its
much
score.
like Fundamentals of Caring sort of vibe.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
I'd give Fundamentals of Caring the same score, and I really like that film. It's just
I prefer
like
this
I
to
said,
that.
beginning, middle, end. It's
Yeah. All right.
so book
Well, let me
standard. It was a
take
good
my
film, though.
let me take it away because I feel like we've all got very similar. So let me say
Go
and
on.
then we'll discuss. Paddleton.
Is that how you say it? Is that what it's
I
called?
guess I don't know. Paddington 2. Paddleton is a wholesome and sweet movie that was a lot more emotional than I anticipated. The opening scene set the tone perfectly, being that it's just as sad as it is comical, and I have to say I did genuinely find it quite funny. The visuals aren't exactly spectacular, but I don't think they need to be, nor are they trying to be. This film knows it's not artsy; it's simply being what it is, and it done a good job at, and it done a better job than I was expecting. I was hoping for a fun-filled 90 minutes with smiles and friends playing sports, but I wasn't disappointed with the alternative. Paddleton is a very interesting take on what it's like to deal with death and grief, and I applaud it for its ability to make this scenario very fun, while still maintaining its melancholic tone. The performances were great, and the characters' love for each other made the ending all the more heartbreaking. I will say some of the jokes didn't land, but the ones I did find funny, I really enjoyed. And I like that the jokes didn't feel shoved in my face like a lot of American comedy does. Towards the end, the editing created a great sense of time, and everything from the pill scene onwards emotionally messed me up. And I have to admit, it really made me cry. The end.
Oh god, you ended that one on an abrupt note.
Yeah.
I had a little thing at the end of mine, but I decided not to put it. But I just put, it's true that this film is sad. I would imagine that many people cry.
Honestly, okay, I think I've cried to maybe 5 films, and this film actually made me cry like quite a bit.
I didn't actually cry to this one, and I cried to a lot of films. But I did feel sad. I just don't think I was in a crying
it's
mood.
like I'm not trying to sound all big macho manly man,
Yeah.
because I'm not. It's like I've just never cried at a film, and I don't know why. This one I felt like really. I knew it was really sad, and I was I should probably cry about now, but I don't know. I just didn't.
Yeah.
But it was really emotional. It's like you really thought like, oh my god.
I thought especially
I
think the reason why I cried, which is why I mentioned the editing at the end, is like them when they're all putting the pills into the glass and then he goes into the bedroom. Like I know it's just a bit of a. I know a lot of people just suck dicks, like. A lot of people suck
They went into the bedroom and did what?
Yeah. A lot of people suck the dicks of films just for using long takes, which is a problem a lot of people have with like Oscar bait films like 1917 or something. But that whole sequence was all kind of, it was either one take or it had very minimal cuts, and I thought that was a really great use of a long take because because they only had a very short amount of time left with each other. You were there for like the entire thing, and that's what made me cry, because I was like it kind of just felt like you were. I know saying in the room with him is like really kind of overused, but that's kind of what it felt like.
Well, I agree. I said I felt as if I'd been on the journey with two best friends. Like I was the third friend that they didn't talk to.
Yeah.
I was there.
I wasn't too keen on the weird little Norwegian girl.
Oh my god, yeah. So what did I say? I always refer back to my review, but that's where my notes are. Moments that were a little out of place and did not complement the tone set by the rest of the film. So those moments were the weird bit in the hot tub when the Norwegian lady came and
2 straight guys in a hot tub.
It was just a bit weird, and also the bit I didn't really like the bit in the bar when they were acting out fist.
Yeah.
Oh, I also didn't like that.
Dragon fist. Both like those are the 2 bits that stick in my mind that I didn't. That were like, it was like, oh, okay, this film's gone crap.
When I say when I said a couple of jokes didn't land, one of the jokes that really didn't land for me is when he went back to buy that safe, and the guy was like, cash or card, and he was like, and he said cash,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh come on, that's
I
not
didn't
racist.
even. I didn't even like. I don't even think I realized that was a joke.
Yeah. But I did find it quite funny. Like the whole
Yeah.
the whole Sandor thing actually
Yeah.
made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
That was actually
I liked the dialogue, and like it was like really natural. Like it was like
Yeah.
really real. Like
Yeah.
this is like how people actually talk.
Yeah.
Just random.
And
like,
I really liked the
crap.
bit where he blew out his candle and he was like, "Have you still got cancer?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think so." And he was like, "You should have chosen
I liked
to
it.
stand off."
I liked when they were talking about how the ostrich was the fastest land mammal.
Yeah,
It's like
per leg.
I thought the cheetah was. He's like no, per leg.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
thought, this film looks like the kind of film where I thought it was going to be kind of like standard American kind of ha comedy that's a bit too in your face, and that's why I mentioned it in my review, because a lot of American comedy is a bit kind of too obvious. But I thought there was a lot of stuff that felt a bit more subtle, and it was still funny, which was nice.
Yeah. But it was genuinely, there were funny moments.
Yeah.
I read a review, and I don't know if this is true at all. I didn't bother to fact check because whatever. But they said like there was little dialogue actually in the script, and they sort of like made up a lot of the things that they were talking about in the film.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's true,
maybe.
but I wouldn't be surprised if that was true because it did seem that way.
I'll tell you one bit, like, because I almost cried, and I was like, okay, I didn't cry, this is it, and then I ended up crying. But the bit that almost made me cry was when he was telling them about how the thing on his t-shirt doesn't mean anything. Cause
Yeah.
he doesn't like to see him
Yeah.
sad.
It was like those last bits when they're like putting the pills in the cup.
It's
crazy because like it's like his friend, I can't remember what they're called to be honest, but his friend, like it's almost like he didn't realize this was it. Like
yeah,
it was weird to think like this is actually it. Like he's actually gonna like kill himself today.
yeah.
It was straight. Like that's why it was emotional.
And I felt so like emotionally vulnerable, like when they were in the bed, because I was like, when he was first of all I'll say, well, not first of all, but the performances then were bloody great.
Yeah, they did do really well. He's Mr. Creep, man.
Yeah,
and Manny from Ice Age.
Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah. I put an Everybody Loves Raymond joke into my review, but I thought I'd take it out.
Yeah, that bit was
good.
When they're holding hands, and the way like he said I love you, and then like after he died, the guy said I love you too.
Yeah, and
it's like that was.
He like doesn't know whether he made a mistake, and when his friend is like, I should have taken like the last month off work. I don't know, like
yeah, that bit also. Yeah, we should have done more.
I feel like there's probably some like legends out there that are like, oh, this film is just emotional, like it's too emotional, and it's just trying to get people to cry.
It's just trying,
and
yeah.
Even if that's the case, don't care.
It was emotional. That's just how it is.
Because I think, like I said, only like 5 films that made me cry. So when a film does make me cry, I instantly give it a lot more credit than I would if it didn't, because not a lot of films do make me cry, and this film did really get me. But
also, it was so like. It really hits you because you then think of like your own friends. I was thinking of my good friends, what they call Jamie and Nat.
Yeah. No shout outs.
Yeah, I was thinking of Jamie and Nat. But it's crazy, isn't it? It's like because they're just good friends that were neighbors, and then suddenly it's like it all gets like flipped over. And
yeah, I really liked I thought his halftime speech was actually really great.
Yeah, I like that. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I like that. Like the last thing he says in the entire film is just he tells that kid that he's got a really good halftime speech if he ever wants to hear it.
I really like him with the kid.
I wasn't a massive fan of that, but
no.
I won't.
I think it could have ended with him just like when he dies and he's like lying there crying or something.
I will say I wasn't
forgotten about Michael and things. Was that even his name? I don't know. So.
And I wasn't a big fan of him going and playing Paddleton by himself. I felt a bit too obvious. That felt a bit like, oh yeah, like I don't know. It's like you could just tell that specific scene was going to happen.
So I'd play a bit of Paddleton. It'd be quite fun.
Yeah.
Just squash with a bucket.
Squash with a bucket, yeah. So out of 10.
6.5.
I gave it a 7.5.
Yes, okay. So I'd give it a 7.5, but based on the fact that it made me cry, I'd probably actually bump it up to an 8.
It's like I don't know if I'd give it a 7 or 8.
I would give it a 6.8, but I want to stick to wholes and halves.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you give Monos, Joe?
5.
And what did you give
Monos? Sorry, Monos was 8.
So you gave Monos an 8 and you gave that a 6.5.
Yeah, but like I said, it would be high. I would probably give it 7.58 if it wasn't so simple.
I think that's
wrong,
That's
Joe.
a really
That's
stupid
wrong.
criticism.
It's just beginning, middle, and end. It's just not
that's
a
but
wow
Joe,
factor.
What do you want to happen?
Yeah, Joe. Okay,
You want to come back to life? The surprise 4th act.
Everyone be quiet for a second. Joe, I think about 70% of films ever are beginning, middle, and end.
Middle and end, yes, but this film just made it even more simple and just made it so beginning, middle, and end.
That was the beauty of it. I like the simplicity of it.
Like, so do I. I'm just saying, it's just giving it a lower score because I feel like it's less creative that way.
Whatever.
Like, they could have added a bit more.
But you know what I said last week about how I think a lot of what makes a film good is whether it is good for what it is. I think for like this isn't like the most artsy or like creative or groundbreaking film with like great cinematography and great directing and kind of.
See, I got rid of that bit at the end of my review. I said it's like it's nothing groundbreaking, but for what it is, it's really good. I don't remember exactly what I said.
What did I give Monos? Did I give it I gave it a 7.58. Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably give it the same, 7.58. I think if I had to choose a solid number, it would be an 8, which I kind of don't feel. Like I said with Monos, same thing. I don't really feel comfortable giving it an 8 for some reason. I don't know why.
It's just because it's like for what it is, you would think, oh, Monos is a better film, but it's just because for what Monos is, it's not a very good one.
Yeah.
But for what Paddleton is, it's like a really good one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's like what made me give it a higher score than I would.
So what are you giving it?
I gave it a 7.5, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to give it if that's a 7.5 like towards the 8 side or the 7 side.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, like for me, Monos is like solid in the middle of. It's like 7.5, and I don't really know what I'd give it if I had to choose a solid number. I mean, on IMDb I gave it an 8, but I'm not very comfortable with giving it an 8. But then I feel like 7 is too low because it did have some really great stuff. So Monos I'm sticking with 7.5, 100%. But with this, it's like a 7.5, like very like, but quite close to an 8.
So that means we need to pick what's the best one that we're going to feature on our profile on our favorite film section. Because I would say Paddleton.
Yeah.
Ollie sounds like he'd say Paddleton.
I would say Monos, but obviously
I don't know. I mean, I kind of like them equally, but in completely different ways. I mean, I just contradicted myself completely because I just said I preferred Paddleton, but I don't know. It's hard because I like them for different reasons.
It's up to you, Ollie.
Well, I mean, we've got 2 spots. Let's just choose both of them for now. Am I wrong?
Yes, because then what are you going to do next week? You can't put it off till next week, Ollie. This is exactly what you say about those clothes that are all over the floor in your bedroom.
Yeah, okay. Well, what are we going to choose then? I don't know. I'd be happy with Monos. I'd be happy with Paddleton.
I choose Paddington.
Yeah. Alright. Let's do Paddleton. I don't care.
Yes.
It feels really weird me liking it so much though, because it doesn't really like. I don't know if it deserves it. I don't know if it deserves it. But it made me cry, and that really.
It's just because it was such a different film from the other 2.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we choosing?
Oh, hi Ollie.
Hello.
Hey, I'm gonna choose. What did I say?
Velvet Thread or something like that.
Phantom Thread.
I'm gonna choose Roma.
Roma.
All right, there we go.
Academy Award winner.
Oh, I liked it. Whoopsie. Yeah, it won. It won the Oscar.
And I'm choosing Horse Girl. Oh yeah. I actually can't wait. I can't wait.
2.8 on Letterboxd.
I can't wait. You guys are gonna love it.
Roma. I'm really excited about Roma. Just disclaimer for fans out there. I was going to choose Roma, and Joe snaked me, so I had to choose something else.
The thing is, I think the people that have given it a 2.8 on Letterboxd, they've got the wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm
mindset.
really excited about Roma.
You've got to go into Horse Girl with the right kind of mind, and just not be stupid. You know, just accept it.
Crap.
The top review on Letterboxd is fine. I guess I'll be the only person on earth who likes this film. Well, that makes two of us.
That makes two of you. Yeah.
I really hope it's just as good as I remember, if not better, probably. I'll see all the little Easter eggs I didn't see last time.
Yeah. All right. So should we quickly do our star ratings for each film, and then
yes,
we'll go in. We'll add our reviews off screen, but we'll do our ratings now.
Then we'll call it a day. Right. So let's think. What Monos?
I took number 4. Watch this. Oopsie.
Oh, I was gonna say 3.
Ollie?
I on my personal one I gave it a 4. So let's just go for 3.5. Yeah.
The Nocturingo. Don't know, 2.5.
I was gonna say 2.
I think on my personal I gave it 3 stars. What do you say?
I said 2.5, and Joe said 2.
For 2.5.
So 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. I'm happy.
And then Paddleton, 3.5.
I gave it a 4.
I was gonna say 3.
We'll go 3.5 then, I suppose.
3.5 it is.
Yeah, nice and simple that one.
Easy pickings. Right.
Yeah. That's it, I suppose.
Anything left to say?
Well, should we run through our out of 10 scores for all of them quickly?
Yeah, for all you listeners out there.
Yeah, for the listeners out there.
Right, rapid fire. Monos.
Fuck.
Oh, am I going?
Yeah, it's your film.
Okay, 7.5 out of 10.
8.
7. Nocturama.
6.5.
5.
6.
5.
Paddletown.
8.
6.5.
7.5.
Well,
6.5.
7.5 bordering on 8, but I'd give it an 8.
Well, there you go.
And then if I had to choose a solid number for, what was it, Monos, I'd probably go with an 8. And if I had to choose a solid number for Nocturama, I'd probably choose. I'd probably choose a 7, but it's a 6.5, and I'm not very happy with giving it a 7.
And you can read all our amazing reviews on our letterbox, which will
www.letterbox.com
Thank you, Joe.
/capital R X Y capital W N.
No, it's not at all.
It's
www.letterboxd.com /the 3 sisters. That's literally it.
Great.
See you next week, everyone.
See you next week, everyone.
If anyone made it to the end,
I
I love you.
Marry me.